Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's episode of the BioSlife Franchise Product Training Call. My name is Dr. Peter Verdegam, and I am the Chief Science Officer of Unicity International. This week, I will tell you all about another great product from our heart health product line. And this week's episode is about Cardio Essentials. To discuss this product, I have to tell you first about a very common process that can happen to our heart and cardiac system. And this is called heart failure. The heart is actually a pump that it has to pump blood around our body for as long as we live. And that's really pretty amazing, since I don't know of a pump made by any man that is actually made to pump every second for a period of 70 years or so without giving in. We certainly have an amazing organ to do this for us. Over time, pumping blood around the body can become more difficult. First of all, this may be the case because of rising blood pressure. It's easy to understand that if the pump has to pump blood around against an increasing pressure, it's going to take more energy and effort to do this. And typically, the average blood pressure of the people in our society increases with age. Another problem is that the body size of all of us tends to increase with the years. But still, the heart has to pump the blood to all our tissues and cells, so it's going to again increase the workload of the heart over time. And finally, our heart muscle tends to lose valuable nutrients over time that are essential for the correct functioning. In particular, CoQ10, taurine, and carnitine. Those are the three most important ingredients that are part of the heart muscle cells. I'll discuss these nutrients one by one a little later. All these things together can cause a disease that we call heart failure. The heart simply is overworked and cannot live up to its expectations of pumping the blood through the vasculature. The actual disease in a diagnosed way affects approximately 1.5% of the population in the United States. And once the disease is diagnosed, there is about a death rate of 50% in 5 years. And some studies actually show a death rate of 50% already in 2 years. So it's a pretty serious disease. And of course, there are many, many more people on the way to developing this officially diagnosed disease. We notice it when we age. Well, we have more difficulty in climbing stairs, for example. We can't go for a long walk without having shortness of breath. These are the initial symptoms that our heart is getting more trouble to perform its daily task. Now, how does our heart normally compensate for this loss of pumping strength? Basically, there are three mechanisms that the heart uses. One is that the left ventricle is enlarging. The ventricle is the chamber that pumps blood directly into the aorta and into the body. This is the strongest pumping part of the heart. It becomes bigger over time, trying to put more blood out. That's one way by which the heart compensates for loss of pumping strength. Second, the heart becomes more muscular over time. Again, a way to try to compensate for the loss. And finally, the heart may simply decide to beat faster, to increase the heart rate. When there are more beats per minute, the heart will actually put more blood through the body. Those things that I just discussed are pretty good solution for the short term because they solve the imminent issue of reducing blood flow when you have heart failure. But over time, they cause a serious weakening of the heart muscle, and this is pretty dangerous because it can lead to more advanced forms of heart failure that require surgery. Some people even have to have a complete heart transplant if they have very serious forms of heart failure. Now, what is Unicity's solution to this slowly decline in our heart function and heart pumping strength? Well, that is called Cardio Essentials. Cardio Essentials is a product that is developed by Numico Research, my former employer, a couple of years ago, and it contains basically 4 ingredients. And these 4 ingredients are dosed at very effective levels, and they're working perfectly together to provide your heart the pumping energy it needs and prevent your heart from developing dangerous heart failure. Now, what are those 4 ingredients? What makes Cardio Essentials so special? The first ingredient in Cardio Essentials is CoQ10, or by its full name, coenzyme Q10. This is a very important fat-soluble molecule that really plays a critical role in heart functioning. CoQ10 is part of what we call the respiratory chain. Now, that sounds complicated, and frankly, it is complicated. I remember having to memorize the respiratory chain in my biochemistry classes. The chain is a chain of biochemical reactions that convert oxygen and fuel into energy, carbon dioxide and water. That's the basic reaction that happens in the respiratory chain. Basically, it's the burning stove of our cells. This process is occurring in what we call mitochondria. And these are little particles that are part of every cell and are also known as the cell's power plants. Coenzyme Q10 is the carrier of electrons in this process. Now, I'd like to see electrons as the sparks that are needed to keep the burning process going. Without CoQ10, the energy generation stops. And for the heart, this is particularly important since, of course, its muscle cells use a great amount of energy to keep the heart pumping. CoQ10 supplementation is all about amount. Many supplements products out there on the market only have 5 milligrams or maybe even 10 milligrams, but science has shown that 100 milligrams is what you need to keep your heart pumping strongly. Cardio Essentials provides 100 milligrams of this ingredient. We actually do not compromise on activity level. A large meta-analysis study with this ingredient alone, combining 8 studies, which was published in 1997, showed that CoQ10 is going to increase the ejection fraction of your heart. And that's the amount of blood the heart pumps out every single beat. It's also going to increase the cardiac output, or stroke volume. Now, these are all different words, but basically it's different ways, different measurements to tell the same thing. Your heart is staying strong and can keep on pumping the blood in your body throughout your life. That's the effect what CoQ10 alone is going to do, according to studies that have been performed around the world. The second ingredient in Cardio Essentials is carnitine. This molecule is actually like an amino acid, but it belongs to the B vitamin family. Our body can synthesize it ourselves, provided there is enough other B vitamins available in our system. It also needs lysine and methionine to do that. But we can also get it from meat. But still, supplementation is necessary because over time, the concentration in our heart muscle is going to decline. Carnitine is disappearing slowly from our heart when we age. And I just discussed the mitochondria and energy production from oxygen and fuel in the heart muscle. Well, the fuel that the mitochondria use is 70% of that fuel is fatty acids. And those fatty acids, of course, have to get into the mitochondria to serve as the fuel source over there. And that's where the carnitine comes in. This molecule serves as a key to open up the channels in the mitochondria to let the fatty acids in. Transport in our body, transport over membranes in our body is often mediated by channel proteins, and that's also the case for this situation. Without carnitine, the channel proteins in the mitochondria do not open up for the fatty acids, and that's why adequate carnitine is essential. Without it, our heart muscle cells would be able to provide energy, provided they would have fuel to burn, which they don't, because the key to let the fatty acids in is not available. That's carnitine, the second ingredient in Cardio Essentials. The third one is taurine. Taurine is also an amino acid that we can make ourselves, but usually we don't make adequate amounts. The healthy heart muscle is the organ that has the highest concentration of taurine in our entire body. So that tells me it must have an important reason in the heart muscle. Well, scientists have discovered that taurine serves a role in calcium balance in the cell. And calcium, a well-known mineral, is very important, of course, for bones, but also to create muscle contractions. And there needs to be a tightly controlled level in the muscle fibers to allow this process to function optimally. And taurine allows the calcium to be transported over the membranes so that optimal balance can be maintained. The studies clearly showed that shortage of taurine will in fact reduce the cardiac output because the calcium balance is no longer maintained. And finally, the fourth ingredient of Cardio Essentials is hawthorn. This is actually a natural berry extract. Hawthorn is a small shrubby tree, and it provides berries that have a specific heart health promoting benefit. Those berries are rich in flavonoids, in vitamins and minerals. But the most important ingredient in relation to heart health is their content of cardiotonic amines. These amines inhibit angiotensin-converting enzymes. We know that as ACEs. And I spell this out completely because some people will take heart medication and know what this is. They're called ACE inhibitors. And these enzymes, these ACEs or ACE, they produce signaling molecules in our body that tell our vascular system to constrict. And of course, when you constrict your vascular system, your blood pressure is going to go up because you reduce the size of the arteries through which the blood is being pumped. Now, by reducing the effect of these enzymes, as Hawthorne is doing, the vascular system is going to relax. And relaxing vascular system means allowing blood flow to flow more easily through it. And that means that it's making it easier for the heart to pump blood around. The amines actually also provide muscle contraction effects, and they promote cardiac rhythm. These effects that I just discussed have been proven in an array of clinicals with the berry. There's been an impressive library of solid, double-blind, placebo-controlled studies that show the effects on improved heart functioning by Hawthorne. So that completes Cardio Essentials. It's really a true smart product because all the four ingredients help together in promoting the energetic status of your heart muscle. It helps the heart to perform at top level. It provides the tools to produce the energy it needs with CoQ10. It opens up the mitochondria to let the fuel in to produce the energy with carnitine. It helps maintaining the calcium balance to allow forceful heart muscle contractions by taurine. And it promotes regular rhythm and reduces the blood pressure because we've included hawthorn berries. Now, let's talk about the clinical study that proves these benefits are really true. The study that we performed with Cardio Essentials was done in Canada by the University of Toronto. What they have done is study the effects in a double-blind placebo-controlled study using patients that had advanced heart failure. Those patients were all on the list to get open heart surgery. That's how serious a condition they were. But before the surgery, they took either Cardio Essentials or a placebo for a period of a month to prepare them for the surgery. The first thing the researchers looked at was levels of the nutrients in the heart muscles. They actually took a biopsy of the heart muscle. And of course, all the subjects had significantly reduced levels of CoQ10, taurine, and carnitine in the heart muscle before they started the study. And then they started the study, and supplementation for a month resulted in a clear improvement in those levels by Cardio Essentials. Whereas the placebo group, taking nothing, showed a worsening effect of the concentration of those nutrients in the heart muscle. Well, of course, that was nice. It was easy to understand. Supplementing with Cardio Essentials replenishes those greatly needed biomolecules for those patients in their heart muscle. But then the researchers looked at the actual functioning of the heart. At baseline, the left ventricle was enlarged, as is normal with heart failure, because the heart compensates for the loss of pumping strength, as I have discussed. Taking Cardio Essentials reduced ventricular size, and the placebo group showed a gradual continued enlargement. In other words, the hearts of the people taking Cardio Essentials showed reversal of the heart failure. Their heart was really coping with the situation. It found renewed energy to keep on working. This improvement was of great importance for the patients that still got an operation, even though they've taken Cardio Essentials, but now they had a greatly improved prognosis because their heart was a lot healthier as the people that had taken the placebo for the month. And after the surgery, tests were performed by putting everybody after the surgery on a bike. And those that had Cardio Essentials before and during and after the surgery had a much longer time till exhaustion. They could simply do more exercise. The placebo users had worse cardiac output. They were exhausted much faster. Now, these were actually great results with Cardio Essentials, and the study was published in the American Heart Journal in 2002. If you're interested in the full report, you can download it at our science website, which is www.unicityscience.org. So this was a very convincing study that allowed us to list the product in the physician's desk reference. As you know, it's not really easy to get in the PDR. You need to have good, solid, double-blind, placebo-controlled studies, continued product quality, and just to make sure that the product you're going to list in the PDR actually delivers on the promise that you've made. In conclusion, Cardio Essentials is a great heart nourishment product. It keeps your heart from losing strength. It keeps your heart from slowly deteriorating and failing to give your body the oxygen and nutrient it needs. The product has been studied in clinical studies in patients that had already had advanced heart failure. And by taking Cardio Essentials before you are at that stage, you will feel the improvement in your cardiac output. You will just have more energy to spend. You can feel you can do more during the day. You can take a long walk. You can hike through the mountains. You can stay active. It's a great product to combine with BioSlife. It's going to keep your arteries from clogging up. That's the BioSlife. And the Cardio Essentials are going to provide the heart the strength it needs to continue pumping for the rest of your life. Ladies and gentlemen, this was this week's BioSlife Franchise Product Training Call. I look forward to next week's when I will discuss Vascular Complete, and I surely count on your presence. Thank you, and bye-bye.